You're listening to the Cars of Carlisle Network, podcast episode number 79. Noelle Dumas, Motorgirl Studios.
Cars of Carlisle is your favorite internationally downloaded podcast about all things automotive. Darren and his CFC team are ever searching for interesting automotive happenings, real stories about real car people, and fun features to inform and entertain you. Each week, the Cars of Carlisle crew brings you show topics ranging from car shows to team adventures to auto racing weekends to behind-the-scenes human interest stories from car nuts that live across town, across the country, or even across the globe. Come join the road trip.
Today, meet Noelle Dumas, a diehard car enthusiast who's been wrenching on cars and motorcycles and honing her artistic talent since well before kindergarten. Yes, Noelle, who sometimes refers to herself as the parts chick, is a brilliant artist, capturing the essence and passion of the automotive craze through her artwork and multimedia designs. Her professional talents over the last 25 years has taken her from automotive design in Detroit to her current entrepreneurial endeavors as owner of the Motorgirl Studios, based in the Washington D.C. metro area. From childhood to adulthood, Noelle has been drawn, pun intended, to the automotive world as she's found her niche. When Noelle was 8 years old, her parents put a Honda motorcycle under the Christmas tree for her. However, before she could fire it up for a ride that Christmas Day, Noelle was required to tear the bike down completely and put it back together again, which she did without any trouble. Noelle has a skill and vision to rescue anything and bring it to life with her new exciting form and function. In her travels from Daytona to Carlisle and everywhere in between, Motorgirl continues to hunt for the elusive barn finds along the East Coast back roads. You'll soon hear and see why Noelle's art garners true admiration and inspiration. It's time to climb into Noelle's 26-foot Airstream trailer, her future rolling art and design studio. So, let's get revved up.
Hello and welcome back, Tubers, to your favorite informative automotive podcast. I am your trusted host, Darren, and this is episode 79. I'm really excited for you to learn more about Noelle Dumas. She is such a talented artist, and you're just really going to enjoy everything she has to say. She is truly a car person, has been that way since childhood. She knows her way around engines and just anything mechanical, extremely knowledgeable, knows cars. She was saying when she was a young child, she could tell her father coming or going from the headlights or the taillights what car it was, make and model. Just a really fun person. I'm so excited for you to meet her, so stay tuned. Before we jump to that interview, which, by the way, if you hear some ambient noise, pardon us. We actually met up at a diner, and there is definitely some restaurant noise, but for the most part, I think you'll be able to hear very clearly. So this, in the interview, you'll hear her talk about the fact she gets down to Florida every year, and she is a big race fan, loves Daytona, and I thought what better way than to have a trivia question that is focused on the Daytona Speedway. So, at the steepest embankment, so what is the highest degree angle that the Daytona track is? Is it A, 12 degrees, B, 17 degrees, C, 31 degrees, or D, 37 degrees? The answer at the end of this episode. So let's head to the diner now and sit down with Noelle, who is Motorgirl Studios CEO and president and owner.
I will find something in the weeds, and you just saw the Airstream.
Right.
It's like nobody else wants it but me. It is calling my name because I am the person for it. I'm
this
the
will
one
be
that
crushed if someone else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The guy said if somebody doesn't get it, I'm going to scrap it, and I'm like, no, because I see the potential.
Sure.
And so my, resurrection complex or whatever is really pulling them out of the weeds and giving them life again. And it could be a motorcycle, it could be a car, it could be a trailer, it could be whatever floats my boat that day. But it's like, I always have this, if I can't fix it, I can part it out to do something else with it.
Right.
And this is what I was just telling Vanessa earlier. I found almost the equivalent of this trailer that had the front end crushed. So I could use one of them to, to fix the other one. And I'm always like, well, that will fund the build.
Right.
If I part one out, because Airstream pieces are so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And especially to try and find the skins in good condition, they're $400 or $500 a piece.
Sure.
Just, know, those aluminum pieces. So, of course, this is how my mind is going. It's like, I want to get this fixed and back to life.
Right.
But I need to fund it somehow, because I'm not going to take the money that I earn from my art to work on anything other than the art business.
Right.
So then, of course, the Airstream is like the rolling gallery, the studio, the stuff that I can do on-site presentations, live action, stuff like that. And so I'm like, but wait a minute, that is supposed to fund this, but that's no fun.
Right.
So throwing cash at it is no fun.
No.
So the search is part of it.
Yeah. It's the journey that's really
that's the whole thing. I love the story. I waited for this thing probably for 2 months. So I saw it on one of the classified apps or whatever. And so I just said, hey, what's up with it? So I get to know him a little bit. I get to hear the story a little bit. I hear the story of like why it stopped halfway through the process. And then it's like, well, I can help you. So, because you're telling me that you kind of poured your heart and soul into this thing. You don't want to crush it.
Right.
But you have to find the right person for it. Now I have to convince you that I am the right person for it.
Right.
And then we kind of negotiate, back and forth. But like I said, I ended up getting it literally for the wheels and tire price because he didn't want to crush it. I mean, it literally was like, you have to get it out of here because the landlord's going to drag it off and crush it. And it's like, okay, if I can make it roll, it's mine. And he's like, yep, come get it. So,
wow.
And that's the thing. I love that. I love the negotiation. I love the search. I love the, seek and ye shall find kind of stuff. And then working with people like Vanessa, who has as much vision as I do. And she's got the facility now that we could actually build it inside, that they'll let me come work on it as much as I want to and
so
stuff
you're going to be
like
a lot
that.
of sweat equity involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and part of it, too, is to partner with them in doing it. It's going to be as much of an advertising tool for them as it is for me.
Like you said, it's a co-brand. Like, I did this, we did this.
We did this, exactly. So it's like taking some of these... This is what was really funny. She's going, God, I wish most of our concept drawings that people want were half as good as these.
Oh, you did these? Oh, well, yeah, of course you did, yeah.
So it's like, what is the concept, of this thing going to end up being? So I have a degree in industrial design because I wanted to go to school to design cars in Detroit. Go figure. Wow. So the whole, design process, I keep going through this design process with this particular project because there's so many options. It literally is a blank slate that you could do whatever you want. So I just got to figure out what it is that I want. And
slab table and everything, that is so cool.
Yeah. And, do I fix it? Do I take it back to it is a complete Airstream frame or not? Do we take it for what it is and just accentuate what it is because it has a story? So, yeah, this is when my mind gets really going, and I've been so itchy to work on it. I said, I've just got to calm this down a bit because I just need to work on it in my head so I can translate what I'm thinking to them, and this one is kind of interesting, and she kind of liked this one the best because this takes the trailer as it is without fixing it per se, and we kind of create this is the beginning, it's the sketch concept.
Okay.
So the rear section would be made out of like tube steel or tube aluminum or piping or whatever to show the structure, and then it goes to the state of finish towards the front. So this is all shiny and slick and whatever, and this just degrades.
The evolution of it,
but it's like
it's decomposed.
It's decomposing from the rear end. So it's
the same now from the front to the back. Right?
Yeah,
it's the inverse.
Yeah. So it's, the inside being, the high-end shiny aluminum, super slick finish, back to rough wood and, like chalk notations on the wall, and all the raw material that went into it, and just really showing it raw, which, you do any kind of homework now on the internet, there's so many to choose from and so many that are really, really cool. And then there's a few that just really take over. This is the coolest one I've seen, and you see it 100 different times from Sunday, but there isn't anything that matches it. And whereas why I think this would be interesting just to kind of leave it is A, the story about it, and B, that we have the capability of making it completely different than anything else that exists right now.
That's true.
So it
shows the before, the after.
Right, and the creativity to pull it off.
True.
And to make it, it tells the story by itself, that this was an incomplete hulk of nothing that turned into this amazing, if you see it going down the road, it's like, I saw that on Instagram. These Airstream people are going to go nuts because I didn't restore it, but at the same time, they can't deny what it turns into because it's way too cool for words.
Right.
And
that's the genius in it. I like that.
Yeah. So the point of the Airstream is like everybody's attracted to them regardless. It's like a Volkswagen.
It is.
Everybody has a story. Yeah. They have a want for one. They had one. Their grandparents had one. Yeah. They're attracted to them.
They're iconic. They know what it is.
Right. They don't know why they want it or want to get it. Exactly. And they're like, everybody loves a shiny metal object, and I don't care who you are. Yeah. So to make that super shiny and this wow factor, and then you get into what it is, and then see it for what it really turns out being, you just kind of go, holy crap, this is beyond anything I would have thought of.
Right.
What it could be or what I expect it to be.
Right.
And I think part of it too is not that I necessarily feel pigeonholed for what I do, because I love doing it. I love the cars, without a doubt. And they inspire me. I go to the car shows and I see one or two that just go, God, I want to do that. Or I meet somebody that says, I have a museum in Charlotte, and oh, by the way, we're doing a premiere for the Ford versus Ferrari movie, and we need you to paint a GT40 and the Le Mans Ferrari from 1966. Oh, by the way, can you do that? Oh, shucks. No.
Arm twist.
I know. But at the same time, it's like I do so much other stuff.
Right.
I have a background in furniture design and in exhibit design and like all this other stuff that I think is actually kind of culminating in this project now.
Yeah.
And that I don't want to forget that this is where I come from.
That's right. And skills to hone and everything else.
Yeah, and, so to go to the shows the way I've been doing it is like, well, every art show has the damn grids and the tent and it's like, I'm so bored of that.
Oh, that day we were pushing the water off your...
Yeah, exactly. It's like this stuff that you always have to deal with, and I can't do these shows because it takes so long for the setup. Yeah. So, part of the reason for being so patient to find this one is literally I just want to open the door. I want to flip the lights on.
So your full downstairs thing it was,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
I want it to be so amazingly inviting that you come in and go, holy cow, you did all of this. Right. You designed it, you built it, you had the vision, you pulled it off. Oh, and by the artwork inside is just as amazing. And oh, by the way, could you do this for me?
Right.
And it's funny because, showing Vanessa these things, she's like, I need you to do the renderings of the projects for our customers' cars. And it's like she didn't realize that was actually an option. That the concept of something that doesn't exist yet is as enticing for me as the existing
This
something.
might be yet another opening for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing with partnering with them, this is intriguing to them because it does take everything that they do, the custom, the metalwork, stuff like that, and it takes that to a whole new client base for them as well. And especially with this, what she said, 96,000 square feet, worth of facility, and of course I'm just awestruck.
Right.
And I'm looking for a place I can just drive my van in to work on it. That's what I want. I said,
Right.
I just want this corner.
Right.
I'd be so happy with this, but she's enough of a fan and wants to help, and I want to help them, that, the future is very bright for everybody.
I agree. And I'm excited for you, the fact that there could just be the opportunity to do some of these renderings and things for other projects of theirs.
And, like I said, to get excited about your work every single day is what, 99,
that's what life should be.
99% of the population strives for, and it's somehow I accomplished it almost by default because I would not give up on it, And going into business and failing head over tea kettle so many times, and the crash of 2008 wiped me out as far as like real estate investing and career and all this other stuff, and it was like, where is your happy place? Because I don't remember where it is. And then I just realized that I always ended up at a car show.
Or sitting in that seat.
Yeah, I was just like, I gotta get out of I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of my head. I gotta get out of the doldrums of what just happened. What did I do wrong? And realizing that, it's a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday and a beautiful day, and I'm just kind of driving aimlessly around, and I always end up at this car show, and I always left happy and invigorated and excited. And then went, how do I get paid to be here?
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to get paid to be here. Yeah. So, and that was the thing. I would just go home after taking some pictures, I'd pull up the stuff on my computer and I'd go, oh God, to pull the perspective out of that, 67 GTO, because the total aspect of the car, you knew what that car was by this one detail. So if you just blow that detail out, if anybody knows a GTO, they know exactly what that is. It doesn't have to be the whole car.
Right.
So I have a lot of pieces that I've done, over the last even 20 years that people are still attracted to. I still sell those prints of, but it seems to kind of come back to, I want the 3/4 view. Yeah.
Right.
But yet, the more people they see me over and over again, and they kind of see the stuff that I come up with, that I'm a little more eager to show the different things, because I have enough turnover with, $20 prints are pretty easy for anybody to swallow. Yeah. But the, $5,000, $12,000 original paintings are a little tougher to swallow, but at the same time, they are so not what you expect for car art.
Right.
That I have this new group of people going, now wait a minute. I want something that nobody else has.
Right. That's right.
Oh, by the way, I just bought a new one and I need you to do a painting of it.
Yeah.
And I think you charged me $2,500 last time. I think that's fine. Can you do that again? Oh, sure.
Right. Right.
And I have a few patrons that are like that. It's just like, well, just tell me how much.
Right.
Because I'm your biggest fan.
That's amazing.
And to have, especially being an artist, it's so hard to find the people that get you. And my family is artists. My dad is self-taught. He does wildlife art and birds, and I mean, he's amazing. And of course, being a teacher, we were over-taught, let's say, as children. And for us to come back from art school and go, oh, it's time to teach the teacher, was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
sure, it's a rite of passage.
Yes, and it's just like, this is what we learned this year, Dad. Let's, I'll teach you, and stuff like that. So his art has improved because of my brother and I both going to art school. But my brother is a contemporary painter, so he is very much into the process and not the subject per se. His subjects are very interesting, but you have to really get into talking to him to understand why, the genesis of his painting. Versus mine it's a Corvette,
Sure.
or it's a 63 split, which is my personal favorite.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do a red one because everybody likes red Corvettes, and of course there's a song about it, and I can go into all of the stuff that why you would like that.
Yeah.
But then you have the person that says, well, I have a 1964 Lola race car. How many people are going to have that? No, just this guy.
Right.
But if it's a cool enough painting, people are going to go, wow, that's just a cool painting. I don't care what it is.
And the piece you did for me is so amazing, and I'll make sure that I continue to promote that because it's gorgeous.
Well, I thank you.
But and I'm in that fan everybody else.
I'm okay with that.
That's
I'm
right.
okay with having fans.
I think for now I'm just secretary. I mean, we're going after vice president.
by all means, you're hired.
That's right.
But see, that's like the project like you had kind of tickled me because it was an interesting challenge. It wasn't like, I want my garage in the background and I have these gas pumps and I'm like, that's so typical.
Well, describe maybe what we talked about the day at the show. Just want to tell my listeners a little bit about how we came to be with that project you did for me.
Well, basically from what I remember is Vanessa talking about you and bringing you over to talk to me.
Right, I wanted to meet you because I was excited about your work.
Right, and then, handing me your information and you taking my information is like, well, what can you do with this?
Right, because here's my logo.
Here's my logo, but here's my car.
Yeah.
And would really be cool to have these two things put together. It's like, this is my car. Mm-hmm. Just pulling out that print and going, this is my car. Mm-hmm. And I love it when that happens because some people, it is their car because I took a picture of it at a show, and they come back the next year and go, holy crap, that's my car. Right. And usually, that's what's so fun is I always give one print away to that person that just, to make their day. Mm-hmm. It always makes my show. I always do better if I give one print away.
And that it's almost like universal.
Yeah.
Like the
so
law of
it's
attraction.
that pay it forward kind of thing. So, I did. It was a Audi Quattro, like a mid '80s Audi Quattro. Mm-hmm. So of course,
they were so revolutionary.
Oh yeah, during their their heyday, they were really really popular. But to have them as popular now, there's a very very definitive group, a very small intimate group that love them without fail. Right. Well, this guy shows up and he goes, "Oh my God, that's my car." I said, "Well, it's entirely possible that is your car." He's, "No, seriously, that's my car." And he goes, "There it is." And I'm like, "Yep, that was the one I saw last year." And it intrigued me. It was a beautiful ar. It was very well maintained.
Was it like a 5000 S or something? Or?
Yeah, and it was red, and it was the period specific wheel, so it wasn't tunered out or anything like that. And I said it was a beautiful example of what I was trying to show. That these are beautiful cars, even though they're old and they're 80s, they're still classics. Yes. And they were, either technological marvels or design marvels. Of their
everything was square and rectangular.
I know, but they were sexy.
They were.
Yeah, and they were fast and fuel economy and all the stuff that the Reagan era kind of foisted upon us. They really pulled it out. And so anyway, he was like, oh my God, but I took all my money to get here kind of thing. And I was like, well, you have to have it. And he's like, no. I said, no, seriously, you have to have it. You inspired me to do this drawing. So you have to have it. So, of course, the thing was, over the entire weekend, he kept bringing people back to me. That's my car. She did my car. And he was my sales guy.
I was going to say,
all weekend.
What an investment.
Oh yeah, and it was like just to see his face light up when I gave it to him was more than I could have expected. Yeah. But then for him to keep coming back and bring his friends and stuff like that, and he's one of my like Instagram followers, like avid, always comments, and always like I still smile every time I see the painting on the wall, all this other stuff, and it's like I do this for that reason. Nice. Like, I do it because I love it, but I do it because I love the reaction. Right. Like, when you saw that, like, in hand, because I sent you a picture of it, and you're like, that's totally cool.
Nowhere near. Yeah.
Right, but to see it in person and hold it in your hands, and you have this tangibility, all of a sudden it changes everything.
My face was hurting from smiling.
I know, and that's the thing. It's like, I feed off of you being excited about what I do, regardless of the money. The money kind of comes after, and I never did it for the money. I never did it for any other reason but pure pleasure.
People can tell authenticity.
Yeah, and, once you get to the point of like, oh, I can actually pay to go to these better shows, and I can afford to buy this trailer, and I can afford to do these things that I've always wanted to do, that is because the gravy has happened, and that whole pay it forward universe coming to, to pay you back for your generosity. I totally believe in that stuff. Exactly. And, but
it's an energy. You're putting it out and it's coming back.
And, it's like I go home exhausted from a car show is because I am absolutely thrilled to be there.
And you're giving it your all.
Yeah, and, you know, for some people, they go, I'm not even sure why I'm standing in a booth right now, but I knew I just had to come over. You know, and it's like, well, that, you know, the painting up there, oh, you're the girl that did the Valentino Rossi drawing on the car hood I saw 2 years ago. Uh-huh. It's like, yeah, actually, that lives in Pittsburgh now, you know, and it's like, oh, wow, tell me a story.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like, and again, they never remember my name.
Right.
But it doesn't matter.
Right.
You're the girl that did this amazing work. You're the girl that did the big painting on the car hood. You're the girl that I need to talk to, and I lost your card, but I knew you'd be here.
Right.
You know,
right.
and it's like, okay, how do they find me on the internet? I don't even know how they find me on the internet because they can't remember me.
Right.
So now it's like, you know, I have an identity crisis. So again, it's like, okay, find the shiny, you know, deconstructed steampunk Airstream and you'll find it.
Sure. Well, yeah. You're going to be, it's a really big calling card.
Exactly. So it's like this. It's funny because the identity crisis has been my entire life, but for now doing it, you know, the business part of it is it a rebrand? Is it a keep it simple, stupid that it's Motorgirl art? Is it, you know, like I said, it's part of the intrigue is the fact that, yes, I'm a female. Yes, I'm actually the artist you're standing here talking to. And the fact that I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Oh, you do.
You know.
You do.
And, you know, I've given an entire library of road and track magazines from 1969 to 1986. I read every single one from cover to cover.
That's awesome.
And I used to, my dad would basically
on
the road, the road trip down to Florida, he would quiz me on headlights and taillights.
Okay.
So it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 1986 Malibu. It's like,
yeah.
okay, good.
Come on, Dad, give me a hard one.
I know, exactly. So, you know, it's everything about it. And then, of course, like I said, going to industrial design school was kind of a no-brainer as far as, yes, I wanted to do the artwork. Yes, I have a talent for the art. But when I went to 2 years of fine art school and they told me that I couldn't have functional art, I was like, oh, I'm so not in the right place. And then I end up at Center for Creative Studies in Detroit, which is now College for Creative Studies, and I walk into the automotive studio and they're doing a full-size interior model of the BMW X5 in 1992.
Oh.
You know,
Wow.
actually 1989. You're welcome. It was like, this doesn't even exist. This is like so far in the future, you know, and it's like, this is what I'm talking about. This is like visionary.
That's the key.
Kind of stuff. And full-size models and, you know, just, you know, sculpting out of foam and clay and you could actually sit in it, you know, and all this stuff. I'm like, sign me up.
You
Where do I
felt
sign
like you're
up?
7 or 8 years old all over again.
Oh, yeah, totally. And the interesting thing was that, you know, I had a really good time first 2 years of college. I mean, really, really too good a time. I had some great friends from that, but I didn't necessarily learn anything. I didn't improve what I did. And I went to CCS, and literally you walk in the door, and they say, well, look to your left, look to your right. There's 100 and some odd people in this room, and only 5% of you are going to graduate. And, oh, by the way, there's 36 hours of homework every single day, and you still have to go to class, and you still have to get your homework done, and it's for you to figure out how to do it. And just to finish off the sentiment here, there is a party at the beginning of the year and at the end because there is no time for anything else. And it kicked my butt. And it kicked my butt in such a way that it made me even more passionate for what I do. So my work ethic is off the chain. And it's like, if I get to the point where I have to stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to finish something, it's like, I'm on a roll. I can't stop, you know.
It's better than when you're up till 4:30.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I hate this, you know. So all of this lifetime at being almost 52 years old, pulling this all together and going, I am put on this earth to do this. And I am put on this earth to take this very specific group of people and bring them joy somehow.
That's amazing.
You know?
And that resonates so well with me. And it's what I really enjoy about, you know, our budding friendship, because it's hard to contain that. You can just feel it. You can just see that passion.
And, you know, I'm hot in the face because I'm...
all cylinders are firing.
I know. I'm just, you know,
right.
just all the Twitter, as my mother would say.
That's right.
But so...
If you don't mind, we were talking before we started to record, Noelle. if you would, just maybe a little background about how your maternal grandfather and then your own father, just how, from a young girl, how you got into just how your exposure to all the automotive world.
Well, I first started to draw at about age 4. And literally that happened because my mother said, "Here, don't you want to draw this house, puppy, kitten, whatever?" And I was like, "No." And why? And of course I'm sitting there with my older cousin. She's older like by 2 years. And my mom is the one that's drawing. And she's a very talented artist. My cousin started drawing and I was like, "Oh, I can do that." So I think my mom intimidated me, which is why I said no. But my slightly older cousin who can't draw at all, I was like, "I got this.
With my
no
left
problem."
hand.
With my left hand, exactly. So, that was age 4. So of course, at age 4, when you really kind of start becoming an individual, let's say, and having your wants and needs and desires and passions kind of starting to come to the surface a little bit, and the memories of, when those things happen. And going to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and visiting my grandfather, who built his house around his car passion.
6 bays, right?
6 bays, other people's cars. He was one of the original founding members of the Antique Auto Club in Hershey. So, he was very into the car scene. And then, of course, bringing his British car passion, literally bringing the cars over from Europe, and really getting into the scene and, buying and selling and finding the best one and finding the donor cars and, meeting the people, but realizing that he could, take care of other people and their cars if he built his house correctly, and then it would also be the camaraderie, and they would come and they'd hang out and, talk cars and, sure, you can come use my metal shop and, stuff like that. So when I walked into that as a child with my cousins running around like fools, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. They were outside sledding down the hill, and stuff like that, and I'm in the shop with him.
Sure.
And he's like...
So rebuilding carbs and...
Yeah. So it's like, oh, your hands are small enough to, you can put the jet in there.
Right.
Or, I'm busy with this, but here, take this chamois and some buffing cream and lubricate the leather in the Riley, or we have Mr. Vogel's, I don't even remember what he had, but he had, probably it was a Corvette. We need to polish the chrome on his car, So he was like, he always maintained other people's cars when they were in his care. So it wasn't just parking.
Right.
It wasn't a storage facility. It was like, you're putting it in Mr. Galley's care. And ironically, my dad took me to Carlisle in 1986.
Okay.
Because he bought a 63 split window, which was his dream car. When he was in college, and I think he said something about like his nemesis had one in college, so it was like that was the pinnacle of success, was trying to get one.
Yeah.
So it was missing like a hubcap or something. So of course we go to Carlisle, because you go to Carlisle Corvette, you find anything you can possibly need. Okay, so this is 1986. I'm just graduating from high school, and we go to Carlisle, and it's like, holy cow, this is heaven.
Yeah.
Acres and acres of parts. And of course, like I said, by this point, I am a car chick, I am a parts girl. Yeah. I'm like, this is this little treasure.
Mecca.
Exactly. And I only paid $5, And that just kind of blew my mind with just how much stuff and how many people, and you could find anything.
Yeah.
And I remember walking around with him, and of course, they're now the grandfathers of automotive art. It all looked the same to me. And I remember asking him, I'm like, why does all the artwork look the same? And he's like, well, you need to fix it. Like, okay. So this was a challenge set down in 1986 to me. Of course, I was thinking like career and going to work for one of the big three, and everybody wants to work for Lamborghini and Ferrari, but how many actually do?
Right.
And so with my dad kind of putting this challenge down, and then going back to work at his motorcycle shop to work on his bikes, and you know, I got into wrenching, and, you know, I bought basket cases, and people coming into the shop and saying, oh, we're cleaning out the garage, my wife wants me to get rid of it, you know, and I paid $50 for a motorcycle in pieces and having to put it back together, and, you know, stuff like that. And actually I got a motorcycle when I was 8 years old under the Christmas tree, and I couldn't ride it until I took it apart and put it back together.
Oh, that was the challenge thrust upon you.
Yes.
Wow.
So, but again, it was, you have to understand, you have to appreciate, you have to understand what it is,
right,
in order to take care of it. Because,
deconstruct it, yeah.
Right, because part of, I think this is, again, part of my family issue, is if you're given something and you don't appreciate it, the investment made it's gone, you know, because it's trashed, or it's broken, or it's lost. You don't know how to do anything with it. You don't know how to fix it. So it just, it rots, you know. And I don't think my parents had enough, being a school teacher in the 70s and 80s, this was not a multi-million-dollar industry for my parents. So anything that they spent on us had to be appreciated and taken care of. And I mean, we still have stuff that we got as kids, because that was, without question, you take care of your stuff. Sure. But that gave me that resurrection complex, that I know I can fix it. Yeah. I know I can fix it. I know that I can put this designer brain to work. I know I can do it on a budget. I know I can find the pieces. I just know. The underdog of vehicles, you go after it. Exactly. And it's like, you know, the barn finds are, you know, that's the wet dream. Everybody, I don't care who you are in the car industry, the barn find is the wet dream. Right. But I drive around the countryside on my way home from a show. I tend try not to take the highways. 2-lane country, yeah. Right. But it's like this twisty turny, and just seeing like the corner of this something behind the barn. And slamming the brakes on and whipping around and just gonna go knock on the door and say, if you ever want to sell that, here's my card. Sure. You know, let me know. I will be back. That's happened a couple times. People have called me and said, you know, it was my husband's. I think we're ready to let it go. It was his baby, you know, whatever. And I've had those opportunities to come pick them up, you know, and that in itself, again, kind of going back to how you're helping people feel better about letting something go. That's right. And especially if you can guarantee that you're going to do something with it. That's right. They're relieved. That's right. That you've come across them. Everybody's happy. Yeah. And again, I think it's that I love that ability to help people be happy with, you know, their decision, their car, their passion, their love, you know. And the other part of that is I love the wives, because there are very few car girls. Okay, we're out there though. I mean, we're very good people, but the wives that come up, bless their hearts, they are absolutely supportive of their husbands' dreams and passions. They don't share them per se. Until they get this piece of artwork that they've commissioned from me for hubby, for birthday, Father's Day, Christmas, or whatever. They get that in their hands, and all of a sudden they're like, I would actually put this in the living room. So this is not relegated to the man cave. Yeah. This is actually something they enjoy now. See, that's neat. And like, you know, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't realize that it could be as cool as this. Right. Because they're used to the garage and the gas pump and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So it's like taking the art of a car. You're melding these two worlds now. Right. So. Take the art of the car to this level that a layperson goes, this is just cool. That's right. You know, that's right. And sometimes I do the VW paintings just because they make me happy, and they make anybody happy. They're decorative now. Right. It's not a car. It's not a bus. It's decoration. Yeah. It's an icon. And again, you can ask anybody. They have some positive experience with a VW. They make you happy. They always make you happy. It's like slug bugs, you know. It's like, there's Herbie. Yep. You know. Yep. So to take that to another level where the interior designers are buying my paintings of Airstreams and VWs to decorate now we've accomplished something.
Yeah, you have.
And, you know, I think that's kind of been my, I don't know, my underlying drive is, you know, yes, I have a passion for them, but it's they are something.
You find you're hitting a chord with the rest of society with these things, which is really neat.
And like I said, the shiny metal object is like if you know, oh God, I had a bright yellow Beetle. You just totally nailed it. Totally remembered the nostalgia. Yeah. You know, this was my spring break road trip with my girlfriends down to, you know, Key West.
People talk about how the football team would lift it up and move it around the parking lot of high school.
And, you know, we took the science teacher's bug and put it up on the roof. Right. You know, it's like everybody has that, you know, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So to be able to put that in something that they look at every day, that's actually a piece of art that evokes some kind of positive response is, you know, again, achieving this level of success that very few artists get to achieve. And I think, you know, like I said, part of my success, I don't feel successful as far as like the money part of it. I feel successful because of the response I get from my people.
Yeah, exactly. Your fans that are within 5 minutes responding to an Instagram post or reacting to, say, like what you posted, I guess, on Saturday or Sunday with my work. I mean, just people can't help themselves.
Holy cow,
you know, like I need to say something here.
Yes. So, you know, I think that's more of how I define my success. You know, will I be a millionaire? I don't know. Let's hope. You know, I'll cross my fingers. Sure. Will I get to the point of living off of royalties on one of my art pieces? Hopefully, maybe. You know, you never know. Yeah. That's not the reason for it. You know, and some people go, well, I'm doing this just because, you know, I have to make money at it. And unfortunately, they're taking art out of schools. They're making it so specialized. Like, if you don't have an inch of talent that your parents actually recognize, that they'll put you in another place outside of school to actually take painting lessons or drawing or whatever, they're not exposed to it at all. No. And they're, you know, living their life on a 5-inch screen, and that is sad. Yeah. You know, and
no original thoughts.
No.
Nothing. Yeah.
And I mean, I started making coloring books for the kids. I mean, I started giving prints away to the kids because I want to encourage that. I would be a mess if I didn't have art.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like,
it's an outlet.
On the top of the post office kind of cray-cray. Because, you know, I couldn't tell you who I was. Right. I could tell you with this. Yes. With pen and paper, I could define who I was. Yeah. But other than that, I had no idea. It was rough. And I can't imagine being a kid in school now that it's like you have math and you have science and there's no art, there's no theater, and you play football or you do nothing. And that's just unfortunate, you know. And I mean, especially because, yes, these kids are super smart, you know, and I don't know what's happening with the water that they're, you know, their brain cells are functioning like way higher than their parents. But the creative outlet is not there and it's not encouraged. Right. And it's like, what do you do with that? If all you want to do is like throw your ideas out there some way, somehow, and get them out. This is why I believe that we have like these mass shootings, because they have no true outlet for what they are trying to say to the world. And it's like, if you put a pen in their hand, or you teach them how to express themselves in a painting, or you say, read this book but don't write a paper, make a painting, explain it to me visually, I think everything would change. You know, music is the same way. You get to express yourself, you get to express your feelings, you get to say to the world, this is who I am, that I mean something, you know. And like I said, if you know, they have all these labels for these kids. And if we went back to like early 70s, when my brother and I were, you know, formative years, 10, 12 years old, I can't imagine the label they would have put on us. Because we were artistic. It covered a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know, but
it's kind of a catch-all.
Yeah, but it, you know, would be autistic? I don't know. We have Asperger's? I don't know. Do I have ADD? I know that. You know, because school was tough. I know that. But if I didn't have this, if I didn't have my parents saying, you're going to do art, we will figure out the rest later, because you are good at this, and you are at peace when you do it.
Yes.
That literally, you know, it's like I wanted a drum set, and that was like the worst thing I could ask for. That was not going to happen. But I could get pens and paper and whatever, you know, because that was an outlet for me.
Right.
I really wanted to beat my, you know, beat my life out on a drum. But they understood this, you know, and I think part of my dad's regret is he went to biology because he wanted to illustrate science books and medical manuals, because that was a job doing art. All he wanted to do was art. But my grandfather said, no, you have to have a job. My grandfather was an engineer. Both grandfathers were engineers. So if you can't get a job doing art, you're not going to do it. I'm not going to let you waste your life like that. And like I said, fortunately, I think those disappointments that my parents had, they said, we're not going to do that to our kids.
Glad they didn't repeat the cycle.
Yeah, and we're going to let them, we're going to encourage, we're going to, you know, fortunately I had the same interest that my dad had, so, you know, going to car shows was not a stretch.
Right.
Going to the races was not a stretch.
Right.
You know, he was my softball coach, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, I have a really good relationship with my dad. We, you know, building stuff, we're like, we have that mind meld thing going on, like, you know, and which a lot of people are jealous about because they don't have that kind of relationship with their parent. But to be able to come from an environment that was that encouraging and that nurturing,
even very fortunate.
Even though, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? It's like, well, okay, 7th grade, I walk into the guidance counselor and I say, I want to design cars, and he goes, but you're a girl.
That's just...
Yeah, and I went home and I told my dad that, and you want to talk about a man who was ticked off. He was beside himself ticked off. Good. And I think me going away from that going, watch me.
Yeah. Actually, it has the right effect.
The
is like
complete different effect of what you want to push me down, and I'm like,
you just lit
man.
the fuse.
Exactly. You know, and he goes, oh, you need more math. And I said, why do I need more math to draw?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll take engineering drawing, and I'll take mechanical engineering classes, and I'll do all the stuff which I love. But at the same time, it's like, how dare you?
That's right.
How you have no idea what I am talking about as far as an industry. And when I went to industrial design school, industrial design as a profession was very, very young, because it was engineers and architects who were doing the design, because there wasn't a field of industrial design. So now, one of my classmates, Ralph Giles, is actually the head of Chrysler Design. And he was in my class, you know, so it's like, we all have this. He's actually on Netflix, has a show, The Art of Design, I think it's what it's called, if you look it up on Netflix. He's one, like, number 6 or 7 of the series, but it talks about, like, being a kid and drawing cars. Like, you just can't help it. You just, I love them, I'm going to draw them, you know. And going through this entire process of, what are you going to do with your life? You know, you're an artist, you draw, what are you going to do? And then you kind of realize that there is an industry for people to put pen to paper and come up with things that don't exist.
Yep, conceptuals.
You know, and to explain that to somebody, and interestingly enough, going to these shows, I end up with these kids who say, I love to draw cars, my parents don't know what to do with me. And it's like, well, you realize this ballpoint pen, this iPhone that you're talking on, the fork, the coffee maker in your kitchen, they have all been designed by a human being, not by a machine. You know, people still, you know, there's ergonomics, there's human factors, all of these things that go into it have to be taught, but it all still stems from how you view the world and how you put pen to paper.
That's right.
So if you are a unique soul that sees the world in a slightly different way, run with it. I mean, because that...
Capitalize on it.
Yeah, because that is rare. That is really, really rare. Yeah. And that's what people get excited about, because they go, where did you come from?
Yeah.
I would have never thought of that. You know, it's
Right.
like, wow, that just
hiding in
blows
plain
my
sight,
mind.
yeah.
And when you get somebody, you know, you blow their mind in one way or another, that is so satisfying.
It is. It really is.
You just go, how is that?
That's a payday.
That's a total. And they go, oh my God. You know? And it's like, you made my day.
That's
Mission
awesome.
accomplished.
Well, Noelle, I'm a fan, but if you would share with my followers and listeners how to reach you, how to look you up.
Well, I have a website, which is motorgirlart.com. I have my Instagram page, which is Motorgirl Studios. Again, we go back to my identity crisis.
Right,
So,
right.
Many different ways to follow me. You can look for my big white van that has all my
And your soon
soon
bullet.
to be
Yeah.
my silver bullet,
Yep.
my art stream, as Vanessa
I
calls
love it.
And my email, my phone number. If you want to, I'd be happy to give that out too.
Sure.
828-777-3892. It's a North Carolina phone number, but I live in Northern Virginia.
Perfect.
I'm normally at Carlisle every month during the season. I tend to go to Florida in the wintertime. So next month I'm going to be in Charlotte at the Mustang Owners Museum, dropping off a couple paintings for the Ford versus Ferrari show,
Nice.
and then I'm going to be at the historic races at Daytona. So, because I love the races, so I need the hair on my arms
Just
to
the
stand
goosebumps,
up.
yeah.
I totally need that.
You're overdue.
Oh yeah, totally, totally. The smell, I swear to God, there's something about
I
the
know.
smell, that
I know.
sensory memory
I know.
is just.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you can follow me those places. But like I said, I usually kind of post where I'm going to be when I'm preparing for on my Instagram page. It tends to be a little more timely than my website. I probably have 1,000 images that are not on my website.
Wow.
Just because I tend to pump these things out and
Well,
I'm a
yeah.
little behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Instagram is a little bit more timely and the best way to get to me, I think, more than anything else.
Well, we at Cars of
So-
Carlisle adore your work and our fans, and looking forward to further collaborations as we move into the new year.
Oh yeah, it'd be totally awesome to do that.
Well, Noelle, thank you so very much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
That was fun. All right, welcome back to Studio A. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I am so pleased to have met up with Noelle. First met her at the Fall Carlisle show. In fact, our friends the Scalavinos had introduced me to her, and it's just been a great opportunity to talk with her and work with her, and we may have an opportunity here in the new year to do some things in cooperation with our friends at Carlisle Customs and Classics. So, the answer to that trivia question, I had asked at the beginning of the show what the steepest embankment is at the Daytona Speedway. The answer is C, 31 degrees. In fact, the banking on the slope of the track ranges from 31 degrees in the turns to 18 degrees on the front stretch. And then it's actually just a mere 3 degrees on the nearly level backstretch. So 31 degrees is the steepest point of the Daytona Speedway. Thought you would enjoy that trivia question. So for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. But I want to say again, please continue to support. If you like what you hear, please go ahead and subscribe. You'll have us in your queue free every Tuesday night. That way, when you are ready to listen to the podcast Wednesday or whenever it might be, we're set and ready. Costs you nothing. And it's just a great way to have us queued up and ready to go. Certainly, rating us 5 stars is a big thank you to us as well. And most of all, just wanting you to enjoy it and spread the word to your family, friends, colleagues, customers, clients, car show attendees, car club colleagues, whomever it might be. We want to definitely continue to grow this Cars of Carlisle Nation, and so glad that you're part of it. So for now, I will say, drive well, be well, and take care.